So you're relocating to Northern Virginia or Loudoun County, or maybe you're buying a house for the first time and you want a little bit of information about what to expect with a home inspection and what types of home inspections do we normally do. Well, stay tuned because I'm going to break everything you need to know about home inspections down. Hi, my name is Griffin. I'm a top-selling real estate agent in the Northern Virginia and Loudoun County area. I'm with Loudoun Living at Pearson Smith Realty. I also run a very popular moms group called the Loudoun Moms on Facebook and has everything that you need to know about being a mom here in Loudoun County. And I help relocation clients all the time with relocating here to Northern Virginia. And the one thing that I find a little bit different depending on what part of the country you're from is the home inspection piece. So let's first talk about a home inspection and home inspection contingency, and then the different types of home inspections that you can do while you're here or when you're purchasing a home here. So number one is the home inspection contingency. Within the contract, you have a few options. The first is that you're going to waive your right to a home inspection. So that means you're taking the house as is and you're not wanting to conduct a home inspection. So you're okay with everything and you're like, yep, we're going to take this house, no home inspection contingency. The next option that you have is a home inspection with the right to void, which means that if you're doing a home inspection and your home inspector finds something that you don't like, or there's something wrong with the home, you can void the home and get your EMD or earnest money deposit back within a certain period of time. So say you have 7 days to conduct it. Say on day 5 you find out, hey, there's something wrong with the home inspection with this house, we no longer want it. You would let myself know and we would send notice and the report to the seller and releasing you of the contract and getting your EMD back. The next is a home inspection with the right to void and ask for repairs. So you conduct the home inspection, maybe there's 10 things wrong with the home. Maybe 7 of them are just little dilly-dally things, like a little bit of caulking here and maybe, some weather stripping around a door, something like that. But maybe there's 3 things like a broken window seal, maybe the garage door doesn't open, stuff like that. And you want the seller to repair those items. So this would be a time when you would submit an addendum saying, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here are 3 things that we found in our home inspection that we would ask for you to repair. And they would become negotiation pieces with the seller. So that's an option that you have. Or if you had done that home inspection, you found these 10 items and say you're like, I don't know, this just isn't going to work for me, or this house isn't right, or these home inspection items are really big, you can just say, yeah, I want to void the contract, and as long as you're within that period, you can send a notice to the seller and they can release you of the contract. So you have a lot of options available to you with purchasing a home and what type of home inspection contingency you want to have in that contract. Next is the types of home inspections that you can conduct. Now on the home inspection addendum, there is also what's called a radon inspection. And radon is a colorless, odorless gas that emits through the ground here in the mid-Atlantic. It's very common, and what's kind of weird though is, you might be on a street and say all the houses have a radon system in them, but maybe the house that you're buying doesn't, and you do the test and maybe it doesn't have radon. It's just so subjective. There's just no rhyme or reason to what house will have a radon issue and what will not. So when you're doing a radon inspection, the inspector is bringing a radon test kit. They usually are kind of like a little computer. They're in I almost look like tackle boxes. I'm sure they've got probably a more official name. They look like little tackle boxes. They put them in the lowest finished space within a home. They do the test for 72 hours or 48 hours. They do the test and then they bring back a report and says, this is how much radon was in the house during this time. If it's over 0.4, then you need to have 4.0, then you need to have that radon system installed to get your levels low. If it's lower than that, then you are fine and you shouldn't need a radon system and shouldn't need to go ask the seller to install one. To install one in our area is about $800 to $1,200. It really depends on the size of the home. It depends on where they can put the radon system in. It just is a lot of variables, but I would say roughly it's like $800 to $1,200. That I've seen in 2023 for the cost of them. But that is one test that you may want to have done because, like I said, we just don't know what house will have radon and which house will not. My house had it and we had to put in a system. Our 2 neighbors don't. So we just got luck of the draw. And it's colorless, it's odorless, you can't see it. So you just wouldn't know your house had it until you did a test. So it's best if you're going to be doing a home inspection, just have the home inspector do it. A lot of times clients won't do it if they're maybe like on a 3rd floor condo because there's going to be no part of the home is below grade or something like that. So sometimes that's a conversation that you may want to have with the inspector if you're buying, maybe a top floor condo or something of that nature. The next would be just your general home inspection, right? So they're going to go through the home. They're going to see, how everything is working. They're going to test all the appliances, outlets, run the water, check all the major systems like HVAC, water heater, things like that. Typically, they will not walk the roof. I know that's one thing's a little bit different than some areas. They're not actually, a lot of times they will not actually put a ladder up to the second story of the home or third story and walk the roof. It's more of a visual inspection, interior and exterior. So that's something that might be a little bit different from your area. Also, some clients will do a sewer scope inspection where they're actually checking the line from the main line to your home just to make sure there's no issues, because you just don't know. Maybe they're putting potato peels and grease and things down the line. You just don't know. So sometimes it's a good add-on to have someone do a sewer scope and just see kind of, what's going on, because we can't really see between the house and the main line, and you don't want that to fail. It's an expensive cost to get that fixed. The next is a lead paint test. So if the home was built before 1978, you have the option of doing a lead-based paint test, and they're going to test to see if the walls have lead-based paint on them or if they haven't been encapsulated with newer paint. So it's definitely something that you might want to be mindful of if you're buying a home before 1978, but there is a possibility that some of the home might have been constructed with paint that was made with lead. It's definitely something to keep in mind, especially if you have little ones. Next is mold and air quality. Some clients will want to have a mold or an air quality test done. That is definitely something that a lot of our home inspectors will do. Again, they're going to take a sampling in the home and then send it out for testing to a lab and let you know if there's any mold spores and things floating around the home. Again, that's something that you may want to talk to your home inspector about, because they can tell you if they think that's something that you may want to do in this particular home, or if they advise you that this is maybe something you may not need to do and save your money. So definitely something that you want to check with your home inspector to see if they recommend that this house have it done based on things that they're seeing when they're doing their home inspection. Last but not least is the termite or wood destroying inspection. A lot of times your lender is going to require this no matter what. So definitely get it done. It runs between $40 to $50 an area. It's not a large expense when you're thinking about all the other home inspections that you can get done for the house. Normally, if you're getting all these kind of other inspections done, it can run into over $1,000. This is just the real cheap, like $40 to $50. They're going to look around the home for any wood destroying pests, like carpenter bees, termites, things like that, and see if there's anything that the seller needs to repair. The lender will typically recommend that this is done and want it done as part of their file, because they just want to make sure that the house is not crumbling from termites, because obviously they're lending against this home as collateral, and they want to make sure their collateral is in good shape. So they want to make sure there's no little termites eating away at the house. So that's an inspection that we have. Either a lot of our home inspectors will do them now, if they're certified to do that, or we can contact a pest company and they will come around. Typically, a lot of our pest companies will then certify it for a year. So definitely ask and see if that's part of their process, but they will do a visual inspection of all the interior, like basement level, and then around the exterior of the home, looking for any wood destroying pests such as like carpenter bees and termites, the more common ones that we all think about. So if you're buying a house in Northern Virginia or Loudoun County, there's lots of different options for inspections. Whether you want to conduct them or you don't want to conduct them is really up to you, but there's lots of options for you, and I would be happy to, when you're purchasing a home, kind of guide you through the inspection process of what you think you want to get done for the home and what makes the most sense for you. If you have any questions about relocating or buying a home here in the Northern Virginia, Loudoun County area, I have a relocation guide that is linked below and a buyer's guide that you can get access to by linking below and giving me your information. And if you have any questions about buying or selling a home here in the Northern Virginia, Loudoun County area, I'd love to be a resource for you. Again, my contact information is linked below in my bio.